Harmon's incredible journey and the most recent developments that have everyone curious. How about you come along? The rise to fame of Mark Harmon is one of those timeless stories where luck plays a significant role. He started it all in the 1970s when he risked everything to pursue acting instead of a safe business job. Instead of a large stage or movie set, he and his father shared screen time in a funny little commercial for Kellogg's Product 19 series, which was his first taste of stardom. His early acting career was greatly influenced by his sister Kristen, who used her connections to get him his first acting gig in an episode of The A-Team. This opportunity started a chain reaction that led to Harmon guest starring in popular shows like Adam 12th, Policewoman, and Emergency in 1975. Yet his success was not solely due to luck. You had to question his mental state when he put on those performances. Was the extent of his ambition ever considered by him? Mark Harmon has been in the public eye for a long time. But recently, his life has taken a disturbing turn, and his followers are wondering what's going on. Is our current understanding of the tale incomplete? Nobody anticipated the news, which includes health worries and sudden changes in careers. Stay tuned to the very end because what's transpiring with Mark at the moment is shocking and tragic. His acting chops started to come into their own as his career developed, and he was nominated for an Emmy for his riveting portrayal in the TV movie Eleanor and Franklin, The White House Years. It's incredible how a single part can propel an actor to stardom. As his career took off, he appeared in notable miniseries like Centennial and had supporting roles in films like Comes a Horseman and The Poseidon Adventure. It seemed like every project he worked on brought him one step closer to a monumental achievement. Actors' careers take unexpected turns all the time. But his life took a dramatic turn in 2003 when he was cast as Special Agent Leroy Jethro Gibbs in the revolutionary series NCIS. It was almost as if destiny had a hand in inviting Harmon to guest star in a couple of JAG episodes where Gibbs was initially introduced after NCIS creator Donald P. Bellisario saw Harmon's riveting performance as Secret Service agent Simon Donovan in The West Wing. Since then, this opportunity has presented itself. Was Harmon aware at the time that he was entering a role that would go on to become legendary? In all likelihood, no. Playing Gibbs, though, wasn't quite a picnic. It presented its fair share of obstacles. Harmon had a challenging task in deciphering Gibbs' complex personality, which included both his cold, no-nonsense appearance and his profound empathy and commitment to doing what's right. What is the first step in fully embodying something so intricate? Because of the character's centrality to the show and its devoted fan base, Harmon knew he had to give him substance. Without a doubt, he was able to understand the subtleties of a seasoned NCIS agent. Thanks to his background in law enforcement, a tragic backdrop involving Gibbs's wife and child's deaths provided emotional weight, which Harmon had to successfully portray. In the face of such overwhelming grief, how can one keep up the strong front that their admirers have grown to expect? Regardless of these obstacles, people connected with Harmon's portrayal because of his dedication and honesty. NCIS became a hit with audiences throughout the world. It's incredible how an actor can change the trajectory of a program and their career just by shaping a character. The ups and downs of Harmon's career show how skill, persistence, and a little luck can propel you to success. And they also serve as a reminder that the road to success is seldom smooth. Mark Harmon's life has taken an alarming turn after years of consistency and prosperity. Why has he suddenly encountered these difficulties? And what is he doing about it? This is far from ended. It's more than simply news. It's a window into the life of a beloved performer. If you want to know what's going on with Harmon right now, you have to watch to the very end. Leroy Jethro Gibbs went from being a quiet and unassuming commander to being one of the most complex characters in television history across the course of 19 seasons. Changing while being watched by millions of admirers all the time must be really difficult. At first glance, Gibbs seemed to be an unassuming, quiet sword who exemplified strength. It was revealed in the third season, as many may recall, the tragic history of his first wife Shannon and their daughter Kelly, adding complexity to Gibbs' character. This incident shed light on his guarded nature and made viewers wonder, how does one manage to be functional in a high-stakes setting like NCIS while coping with such profound loss? The recurring focus throughout the seasons was on Gibbs' connections with his squad, which highlighted his leadership skills. A warm and welcoming environment was fostered by his transformation into a father figure for several team members, particularly agents Tony DiNozzo and Ziva David, as well as forensic expert Abby Sayuto. The thought of how something as innocuous as his now iconic head slap, which started out as a fun rebuke for DiNozzo, became a signature of his personality is intriguing. In what other ways do a person's connections and their tiny peculiarities evolve across time? Gibbs' character development was further developed by important plot points such as his family's sad loss and his desire for vengeance against Pedro Hernandez, the killer. Just picture yourself secretly holding that secret for years, only to have it unintentionally exposed when Abby found evidence connecting Gibbs to Hernandez's murder. What kind of moral impact would that have? Because of his personal history and struggles with remorse and a desire for justice, Gibbs is able to be understood and empathized with. As a leader in character, Gibbs is deeply affected by his history and the principles he established in Shannon's honor. Time taught him, nevertheless, that it's all right to bend or even disobey the rules sometimes. A new and interesting viewpoint, isn't it? As Gibbs so eloquently showed, growth frequently necessitates flexibility. Just as important to his growth as an individual were his interactions with his fellow NCIS team members. Tony D. not so, and he developed a strong, almost family-like connection throughout their time as mentee and mentor. What is unique about a mentor-mentee dynamic? Many viewers connected with Gibbs and Tony's relationship because it demonstrated trust, progress, and mutual respect. The bond was one of a kind with Abby. When they exchanged signs, it revealed more than just a professional level of understanding and affection, adding depth to his already multifaceted persona. Gibbs regarded her nearly like a daughter. With the addition of agents like Ziva David and Timothy McGee, Gibbs demonstrated that he could be more than just a law enforcer by changing his leadership style to foster growth. We witness characters who are resistant to change so frequently. Being able to adapt while staying true to his convictions is a testament to Gibbs' strength. But rumors of animosity on the NCIS set started circulating behind the scenes. Harmon and Paulie Perrette had problems outside of filming. Despite the fact that their on-screen connection was admired by viewers, an incident involving Harmon's dog, which got a little overexcited and nipped a crew worker, was the spark that ignited the fire. Mark Harmon left NCIS after performing the devoted and time-consuming job of Special Agent Leroy Jethro Gibbs for over 20 years. Producing the program for as little as 2 hours a day in its early seasons and continuing to play the same character for as long as he did, especially as he got close to 70 years old, was a lot. The idea of taking a step back was mooted by Mark Harmon. Ignoring the impact of exhaustion on his decision-making is understandable. Harmon decided to put his personal life, particularly his family life, first after years of devoting himself to Gibbs. He had considered quitting the program around seasons 15 or 16, but he stayed for far longer than he had planned out of loyalty to the people he considered family on set. To make sure the season could get off to a nice start, Harmon needed to talk to CBS and the show's producers about his departure. The network and viewers were both comforted by Mark Harmon's agreement to participate in a limited number of episodes during the transition period. It felt like passing the baton to the next runner in a relay race. Even more intriguing, Kelly Cole, president of CBS Entertainment, dropped hints that Harmon might come back. The writers took their time crafting Gibbs' leaving plot so that both fans and the character might find meaningful resolution. In the fourth episode of season 19, Great Wide Open, Gibbs finds solace away from the high-stakes NCIS environment in Alaska and decides to remain there after solving a case. In Harmon's opinion, this was an authentic and appropriate way to wrap things out for Gibbs, as it mirrored his own path and the character's development. Harmon's impact on NCIS went much beyond his dual roles as executive producer and star actor. He has been juggling the responsibilities of production and artistic direction since 2008. He had a lot of control over the show's trajectory thanks to his dual job, which occasionally led to disagreements with the writers and directors. Despite Harmon's reputation as an absolute professional, a few members of the team believed that there was room for improvement in terms of communication. Keeping things operating smoothly on set when creative minds aren't aligned is tough. Frustrations are going to erupt. Sean Murray, Timothy McGee, Brian Dietz-Zen, Jimmy Palmer, and others lauded Harmon's supportive leadership despite the high tensions. He was a positive force who wanted everyone to succeed, even if he was juggling acting and production duties. The loss of Harmon's creative vision and financial support for NCIS has far-reaching consequences. Both the public face and the driving force behind NCIS for almost 20 years was Harmon. The show's budgetary framework had to be rethought after his departure. Harmon allegedly made over $500,000 every episode, which was a significant portion of the expenditure. Producers had to find ways to keep expenses down without sacrificing quality or viewer engagement because of this hefty remuneration. When Harmon left, the production crew had to be creative in order to come up with fresh stories to replace him. It took a lot of ingenuity and imagination to keep the program interesting and lively once a character left. Thanks to its strong ensemble cast and NCIS's lengthy history of success, the program persevered through the difficult shift. The procedure that led to Harmon's contracts was indicative of his commitment and devotion to the program. Together with his co-stars, he put in a lot of time and effort in the first few seasons to make NCIS a hit. Harmon was able to negotiate greater compensation as the show's popularity increased in subsequent seasons. Harmon's worth to the show was evident as he became one of the highest-paid performers on television, earning more than $500,000 each episode. After taking on the post of executive producer for NCIS in 2008, he cemented his influence not only as a leading actor but also as a creative force behind the scenes. This dual role granted him an unparalleled position, enabling him to help shape storylines, contribute to casting decisions, and guide the overall tone and structure of the show. It's rare in television to find an actor so integrally tied to both the artistic and administrative components of a production, but for Harmon, the combination seemed natural. His deep understanding of the show's rhythm, its characters, and the fan expectations gave him unique insights. For over a decade, his fingerprints were on virtually every episode that aired. And yet, with great responsibility came great tension, particularly when it came to maintaining a balance between what was best for storytelling and what was feasible in terms of production. Harmon's commitment to NCIS was legendary. Cast and crew members often spoke of his laser focus, showing up to set early, staying late, and treating everyone from guest stars to grips with the same level of respect. He was known to learn the names of everyone on set and frequently took it upon himself to personally check in with new cast members to ensure they felt comfortable. But under the surface, that same intensity sometimes created pressure. Several insiders revealed that Harmon, while rarely overtly confrontational, was exacting in his expectations. Missteps in preparation or performance were met with a quiet but unmistakable disapproval. For some, this was motivating, a sign of his high standards. For others, especially younger or less experienced actors, it could be intimidating. One story that made its rounds involved Harmon stepping in during a late-night shoot when a scene wasn't landing emotionally. He asked the director for a brief pause, walked over to the actor involved, and gently re-explained the emotional stakes of the scene. The actor nailed the next take. It was a reminder that, even when tensions were high, Harmon ultimately cared about the work, and about making sure every scene delivered on its potential. That passion, however, also contributed to the friction with Paulie Perrette. Though neither of them has publicly detailed every aspect of their dispute, it was clear the once warm relationship had fractured deeply by the time she exited the show. After the dog incident, Perrette reportedly felt unsafe and unheard. When she left NCIS in 2018, she alluded to multiple physical assaults on set, though she didn't name Harmon directly. The network launched internal investigations, but the truth remained murky. Many fans were torn, wanting to support both beloved stars, but unsure where the blame lay. Harmon, for his part, remained tight-lipped throughout the ordeal. Those who knew him said it was typical. He believed in resolving matters privately, not airing grievances in public. But in Hollywood, silence often speaks volumes. The public perception of Harmon shifted slightly. While he was still respected, a more complex portrait began to emerge, a man fiercely loyal to his craft, but perhaps not always sensitive to the needs of those around him. Despite this, his legacy within NCIS remained largely intact. When he announced his decision to step away from the show full-time, the fan reaction was a mix of sadness and gratitude. Viewers had spent nearly 2 decades with Gibbs. His departure marked the end of an era. But just as audiences were adjusting to life without Gibbs on their screens each week, rumors began to circulate about Harmon's health. His decision to exit the show, some insiders suggested, wasn't solely about creative fatigue or a desire to focus on family. It was about necessity. Reports emerged that Harmon had suffered several health scares in recent years, including heart-related issues and chronic back pain stemming from years of physically demanding work. While no official statement confirmed any specific diagnosis, paparazzi photos began surfacing showing Harmon looking thinner, frailer, and often walking with assistance. Fans began to speculate, was something more serious going on behind the scenes? Adding to the mystery was Harmon's increasing absence from public events. Where once he had made regular appearances at award shows, charity events, and network functions, he was now almost completely off the radar. His last major interview had been years prior, and even his typically active representatives seemed unusually quiet. Some feared the worst. Others believed Harmon was simply embracing a long-overdue retirement, one far from the pressures of celebrity. But whispers persisted. A former castmate, speaking anonymously, claimed that Harmon had been quietly battling an undisclosed illness and that his family had urged him to take time to heal away from the spotlight. Mark gave everything he had to that role, the source said. But now it's about survival. He's focusing on his health. That's what matters now. In recent months, there have been sightings of Harmon in and around his home in Los Angeles. Neighbors describe him as reclusive but friendly, walking his dogs in the early morning hours, tending to his garden, and occasionally grabbing a coffee at a nearby cafe. Always alone, always low-key. One local even claimed to have overheard Harmon say he was done with Hollywood. Whether that's true or just a figure of speech remains to be seen. Meanwhile, CBS has continued to leave the door open for Gibbs to return. In press interviews, network executives frequently tease the possibility of a special guest appearance or a Gibbs-centric spin-off, should Harmon feel up to it. "He's always welcome," one executive said. "Mark is NCIS. We'd love to have him back, even if it's just for one episode." For fans, that hope remains a lifeline. The idea that Gibbs might re-emerge, even briefly, offers comfort. After all, few characters in television history have been as enduring or as beloved. But the question now isn't just whether Harmon could return, it's whether he should. At 73, after decades in a physically and emotionally demanding industry, perhaps the time has come to let Gibbs rest. Perhaps Harmon has earned his quiet mornings, his privacy, and the right to fade into obscurity if he so chooses. And yet, there's something haunting about the way he left. No farewell tour, no tell-all interviews, no public goodbye. Just a character walking off into the Alaskan wilderness, never to be seen again. It's poetic, in a way. Gibbs always was a man of few words, more action than explanation. Mark Harmon's story is one of incredible highs, painful lows, and lingering mysteries. He captivated millions, created a character that will outlive us all, and left behind a legacy that few in television can match. But is also a man, flawed, complex, and now, perhaps, in the twilight of his health and career. As fans, we may yearn for closure, but maybe Harmon has already given us all he can. Maybe the final chapter of Leroy Jethro Gibbs is still being written, not on screen, but in the quiet moments of the man who brought him to life. And maybe, just maybe, that's exactly how it should be.